Welcome back to Bong Toi Trong Dem. Today, we continue our journey into the story, The Abandoned Mansion at Cam Lee Waterfall. Before we begin episode 3, let's take a quick look back at episode 2. In episode 2, Khan was tormented by strange whispers and eerie visions coming from the paintings. The shadow behind him became clearer, as if trying to pull him into an old, buried secret. He found a photo of a man who looked exactly like him and was lured down to the basement, where something long hidden seemed to be waiting. Now, if you're ready, let's step into episode 3. The oil lamp cast thin, trembling streaks of yellow light, flickering as though it could die at any second. Khan stood frozen at the entrance to the basement, where waves of icy air rose from below like the breath of something alive. The smell of damp earth mixed with a metallic tang twisted his stomach. Outside, the roar of the waterfall sounded almost like someone screaming through a strangled throat. He took a deep breath and placed his hand on the wooden railing. Each step downward creaked sharply, echoing as if the old staircase itself was warning him to turn back. But he didn't. Something unseen, an ancient promise, a faint calling, kept pulling him forward. The cold of the basement wrapped around him like a shroud. The wavering flame illuminated streaks of mold spreading across the walls. At the far end stood a large mirror, its surface cracked by a long, jagged line. Khan raised the lamp closer. A chill leaked from the glass, making his fingers tremble. His reflection appeared, but the face was not his. It was the face of the man from the photograph. Hollow eyes, sharp cheekbones, a cold, thin smile. Khan jerked back, but the reflection remained. The figure in the mirror curled its lips further, smiling without warmth. Behind him, footsteps whispered against the floor, followed by a faint, trembling breath brushing his ear. A pale silhouette emerged in the corner of the room. Her hair hung wet, dripping icy drops onto the cold ground. Khan held his breath. His fingers tightened around the lamp so hard it felt like it might shatter. A tremor of breath slid down the back of his neck, carrying a voice thin as broken thread. "You came down?" The words shook like someone trying not to cry. Khan spun around. The shaking light revealed her face, white, drained, water trailing from her hair down her neck, each drop cold as ice. A heavy silence thickened the room. Then she raised her head, her wide eyes glowing with the fire of a night long burned into memory. In the cracked mirror behind her, the man's reflection smiled again. His lips moved as if speaking, but no sound came. Only the faint, broken notes of a piano drifted from upstairs, each tone falling into Khan's ears like icy needles. The girl stepped forward. Her bare feet dragged across the floor. With each step, her shadow stretched unnaturally, pulled backward by something unseen. Her voice trembled, smoky with the scent of ashes. "Do you remember?" Her hand reached through the air, searching for something long lost. "The promise under the moon that night." Khan staggered back, bumping into a wooden table. His voice cracked out, panicked. I'm not him. I'm not that man." She stopped. Her eyes widened, clouded with a grief too deep to name. In the mirror, the man's smile stretched to the edges of his face, unsettling and wrong. The piano notes grew clearer, as if someone with frozen fingers sat at the rotting instrument above them. Suddenly, she rushed toward him. Her cold presence crushed the breath from his chest. Her hands grabbed his collar, pulling him close. Her words spilled out, bitter as smoke. "You left me in the fire." A single warm tear fell onto his skin, in stark contrast to her icy touch. Khan's pulse thundered. He tried to push her away, but his hands passed through her as if she were made of mist. The smell of burning wood thickened until his eyes stung. She leaned into his ear, her voice cracking. "But I don't blame you. I just want you to remember." Khan shuddered, breath unsteady. In the mirror behind her, the man lifted a finger to his lips, signaling silence, his form then warping, melting into the cracked surface as though something was dragging him away. The girl stepped back. Her trembling hand rose as if to touch his face, but it met only empty air. Her whisper barely existed, so faint he would have missed it if the basement weren't deathly silent. "Don't let him remember before you do, or there will be no escape." The flame of the lamp jerked violently, then died. Darkness swallowed the basement, thick and suffocating. Her footsteps faded into nothing. Only Khan's pounding heartbeat remained, and the distant piano echoing down from above like a cryptic warning. A low, lingering note, and her final whisper drifted through his mind. "Don't let him go first." The basement remained pitch black. Khan stood frozen for several seconds, trying to steady his breath, but the harder he tried, the tighter his heartbeat felt, as if an invisible hand were squeezing it. The air around him grew thick, cold like a burial vault. The musty smell from the walls intensified now that the oil lamp had gone out, leaving the sense that something was crawling slowly through the cracks in the bricks. He groped through the darkness, hoping to find the matchbox. His fingers brushed against something icy. The moment he closed his hand around it, his skin tingled sharply, almost as if the object were breathing. He jerked back, stumbling, heart pounding wildly. A whisper stretched out behind him. "Don't be afraid." The voice was thin as mist, brushing the back of his neck and making every hair stand upright. Khan spun around, but saw nothing except the abyss of the room. A faint breeze slid past him, carrying the wilted fragrance of forest orchids, and the smoky trace of that long-ago night of fire. He stepped back, hand reaching for the nearest wall to steady himself. From the staircase above, a creak echoed, a soft, deliberate sound, as if someone were descending one step at a time. Slow, steady, intentionally audible. Khan strained his eyes toward the edge of the darkness. The footsteps continued, then abruptly stopped halfway down. A burst of cold air slammed into his face. He shivered, and a strangled question escaped him. "Who's down here?" His throat felt parched, painfully dry. No answer came, only the dragging sound of something scraping across the dirt floor, long, brittle, slow, like dry nails clawing at stone. A breath rasped right beside his ear. "Don't let him remember first." The whisper faded as if being pulled away by force. Khan jerked his head left, then right. His heartbeat thrashed violently against his ribs. At the far end of the basement, the cracked mirror flickered with a pale glow. Despite the absence of light, the surface shimmered as though it carried its own moonlight. The fractures gleamed silver, bending like twisted, grinning mouths. Inside the mirror, the man from earlier appeared again, but this time, he wasn't still. He moved forward, one step, another. The echo of his footsteps reverberated faintly, as if they originated inside Khan's skull. When he reached the edge of the mirror, only inches from Khan, he tilted his head. A quiet cracking sound rippled across the glass, like something was about to break through. Khan's breath grew ragged. He backed away until his shoulders hit the cold stone wall. Dampness filled his lungs. He shut his eyes for a second, then opened them, trying to hold himself together. A voice rose from within the mirror, distorted like metal scraping against glass. "You're too late?" The reflection curled its lips, eyes glinting with malice. Khan froze. The words weren't even directed at him, but the chill crawled down his spine all the same. Black mist began seeping from the frame of the mirror. It slithered across the ground, creeping around Khan's ankles and climbing up his legs. He recoiled, fear squeezing his chest. Then, from the staircase, a strangled cry echoed, like someone being choked. "Don't let him out?" It was the girl's voice, but this time it was faint, broken, dragged downward into something deep and merciless. Khan couldn't take it anymore. He turned and bolted toward the stairs. But the moment his foot touched the first wooden step, the entire staircase trembled, groaning with a long, splintering crack. He stopped instantly. A warm breath pressed against the back of his neck, so warm it made him shiver. Because it didn't belong in the freezing basement. A man's voice spoke, low and rumbling enough to make the ground beneath him vibrate. "Leaving so soon?" Khan turned, and there he was, the man from the mirror. no longer trapped behind glass. He stood on the staircase itself. Tall, broad-shouldered, his face half-lit, half-devoured by shadow. His eyes were hollow, a bottomless void staring straight into Khan. He took one step. The staircase made no sound, almost as if it too were holding its breath. Khan shook with fear, pressing himself against the wall. The man dipped his head slightly, lips curling into a long, chilling smile. Then he spoke, voice rumbling like it crawled up from the earth. "I remember now?" At that very moment, the mirror at the far end exploded. Shards of glass shot out like fragments of a shattered moon. Spinning through the air, black mist surged outward, wrapping around Khan's legs, pulling him off balance and slamming him onto the freezing ground. Through the chaos, he heard the girl's footsteps rushing toward him, her voice trembling. Panicked. "Move away," he remembers now, "run?" Her words quivered as if she were trying to drag him out of the darkness. But it was already too late. The man lunged, seizing Khan's arm with a crushing grip strong enough to snap bone. His face hovered inches from Khan's, breath reeking of smoke and burning ash. He spoke a sentence that froze Khan's entire body. "Now it's your turn to remember." The basement collapsed into pure darkness. Everything dissolved into a suffocating, ink-black void. Only Khan's pounding heartbeat remained, and the stirrings of a memory awakening from the deepest corner of his mind. Darkness swallowed Khan like a bottomless pit. He no longer knew whether he was standing, sitting, or lying down. There was only the howl of wind tangled with the heavy thud of his heartbeat. In that darkness, streaks of red light like glowing embers suddenly appeared, twisting into a swirling ring. Khan tried to open his eyes, but his eyelids felt weighed down as if someone were holding them shut. Heat washed over his face, and the smell of burning wood grew sharper, filling his lungs until he coughed violently. A voice drifted from far away, slicing through layers of old memories. "Look." The voice was rough, dragging each syllable like a wet rope. Khan was pulled into the circle of red light. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself standing inside the mansion, but whole, glowing, strangely beautiful. Candlelight shimmered along the walls. The grand hall smelled faintly of fresh orchids. No scorch marks, no darkness, no screams. It was like stepping into a dream. But then he looked down at his hands and froze. They weren't his. Long fingers, copper-tanned skin, thick calluses. He yanked them back as dread sank into his chest. A gentle, familiar voice rose beside him, the girl's voice. "You came." She smiled softly, her eyes glowing with a joy tinged by deep sorrow. She wore a pristine white dress. Her long hair was smooth, not drenched like before. Her cheeks were warm, her eyes bright. She was alive, not a spirit. Khan opened his mouth, but the words died in his throat. She placed her hand on his arm, warm, impossibly warm. "I know," her voice trembled, shrinking to a whisper. "We don't have much time." At the end of the hallway, the man appeared, no longer a blurry reflection, no longer with hollow voids for eyes. This time he was flesh and blood, a tall, handsome French-dressed man with sharp features and a controlled, elegant presence. Khan recognized him instantly. He was the man with his face. The man looked at the girl with tenderness before turning to Khan. A faint smile forming. "I remember now?" His gaze pierced Khan as if trying to rip out his soul. Khan staggered back as a stabbing pain shot through his head, thousands of needles drilling in at once. Images burst into his mind, evenings by the piano, the girl's hands resting on the keys, soft laughter, whispered promises of running away together, and a man watching from afar, eyes burning with jealousy and rage. The girl's breath quickened as she glanced at the man. "Please, don't let him remember." She grabbed Khan's hand, her warmth fading into cold. The man laughed, a sharp, ringing sound that shattered through the hall. Too late. He stepped forward, his shoe tapping the floor with a low, heavy knock. "I remember everything, and he will remember just like I did." Khan shook his head again and again. breath spiraling out of control. He clutched his head as memories slammed into him. The fire. The burning flesh. The screams. The piano. Moonlight sonata mangled and broken under frantic fingers. The girl dragged into a locked room. Begging. Footsteps running. Fists pounding on a door. And the man's laughter echoing behind it all. Khan's eyes flew open, body trembling. I'm not him. His voice cracked. Weak. I'm not. The man stepped so close that his breath hit Khan's skin. Blood doesn't lie. His whisper reeked of ash and smoke, stinging Khan's eyes. That night I locked the door for love. And you? You were born to open the door I left behind? The girl screamed, her voice breaking. Don't. He's not like you. He never betrayed anyone. Her back shook violently, hands clutching her dress until her knuckles turned white. But the man only tilted his head and smiled thinly. Then let's see how long he lasts. The memory world trembled like a curtain being torn apart. The glowing hall erupted into a storm of fire. Flames devoured the drapes. Candles toppled and split. The piano glowed red before bursting into sparks. The girl was dragged backward toward the same old room, the room where she had vanished forever. Khan lunged after her, arm outstretched, but the man held him back. Fire scorched across his face, blistering hot. The girl screamed, "Don't let me die again." Her voice melted into the roar of the flames like a fragile thread snapping. Khan screamed back, raw, desperate. And then, everything went black. He opened his eyes. He was lying on the cold basement floor. No shining mansion. No golden past. Only cracked stone walls and the smell of mold. On the staircase, the girl stood again. But this time, her face wasn't whole. Half of it was burned, skin split and charred. Her white dress was dotted with scorch marks. Her eyes glistened, pain and resentment tangled together. She looked at him weakly. "You remember now, don't you?" Khan wanted to say no, but his throat closed. Behind her, the man stood tall, wearing that same half-smile. He tilted his head. "And now, you will finish what you owe." The entire basement shuddered violently, as if something beneath the ground were trying to rise. A chill snaked down Khan's spine. And deep inside his mind, a final memory began to open. Like an old coffin creaking after a century of being sealed away. Khan jolted upright on the freezing ground, his breath heavy as though something were pressing down on his chest. The basement darkness was no longer still. It shifted and writhed like a living creature waiting for someone to set it free. Waves of cold air rose from beneath the floor, brushing across Khan's skin, raising goosebumps like invisible fingers sliding through every pore. Ahead of him, the girl still stood near the base of the staircase. Her burned, tangled hair covered half her face. Her eyes glimmered with something he could not decipher, pain or resentment. Or maybe both. Her bare feet were smeared with soot. Each step she took grounding her in the ashes of her own past. She lifted her gaze to Khan, her voice trembling, fear, pleading, and desperation woven into every syllable. "Don't go any deeper." Her eyes tightened as if begging him. Khan tried to stand, his legs trembling, his throat dry. I don't understand anything." His hands shook as though they couldn't hold their own weight. A deep laugh rumbled from the darkness behind her, cold, metallic, like a saw dragging across steel. The man, Khan's twisted reflection, stepped out from that blackness. Every time his foot hit the ground, the floor shuddered slightly. Ash drifted into the air as if blown up by an invisible force. He glanced at Khan, a long, thin smile sliding across his face. "I told you, you would remember?" His eyes were sorrowful, yet poisoned with something darker. Khan backed away. His mind felt stretched, crushed, buzzing with pressure. He couldn't tell whether the memories clawing into him belonged to the man, or to himself. From a life buried beyond reach. The extinguished oil lamp suddenly flared back to life. Its flickering flame lit up the ground, where long cracks began glowing red like burning coal. The smell of charred wood thickened until Khan felt sick. The girl shook her head, tears slipping down her blistered cheek. "Please, don't force him anymore." Her shoulders trembled violently, ready to collapse. The man stopped walking. He tilted his head, studying her for a long moment, as if weighing something. Then he let out a low laugh, a sound that sent ice shooting down Khan's spine. "You still defend him, even after he left you to burn in that room?" The girl bit her lip until blood appeared on the cracked skin. She stepped forward, voice quivering. That wasn't him. Her words were so soft they almost disappeared into the dark. Without warning, the man grabbed her chin, squeezing lightly. Firelight glinted in his eyes like a predator's. "You care for him that much? Then let him remember everything." A hot wave of air blasted across Khan's face. His vision blurred. The ringing in his head grew louder. The basement spun. Images whipped through his mind. The girl being dragged away. The slam of a heavy iron door. Her screams pleading from inside. The roar of spreading flames. People shouting. Wood cracking. And the thin cry of a newborn child. Khan clutched his head, body trembling uncontrollably. I hear a baby." The words burst out of him, broken, breathless. The man stepped close, his breath smelling of scorched ash. "Yes, you heard right?" The girl's eyes widened in terror. "No, don't tell him." Her hand shot out as if to cover his mouth. He slapped her hand away, eyes flashing with icy sharpness. "If he doesn't know, how will he know who he is?" Khan felt his chest tighten painfully. The man leaned toward his ear, voice drawn out and merciless. "You were the infant carried out from the fire that night. I was the one who lifted you out, while the flames devoured everything." Khan went still. The basement seemed to fall away. Everything blurred. The girl collapsed to her knees, sobbing into her palms. "Please, don't make him remember more." Her entire body shook, shredded with grief. The man looked at Khan, now with eyes that weren't the eyes of an enemy, but of someone who had once loved, once lost, and gone mad from the loss. He whispered, "You are my blood, the piece of me I saved myself." Then he clenched his jaw and said each word like it was carved from stone. "And you are the only one who can open the sealed door down here." The basement convulsed violently. The cracks beneath them blazed brighter, red like molten lava ready to burst. A baby's cry echoed from deep within the earth, faint yet chillingly clear. Khan stared downward, face pale. He whispered, trembling, "Why, can I hear it?" The man answered, voice dropping like a funeral drumbeat. "Because that is your cry. From the night the fire swallowed this entire family." Khan's knees buckled. He grabbed the wall for support. From below the floor, the infant's cry rose again, louder this time. Urgent, calling. The man lowered his voice. "You're ready? The door is about to open." And as the ground beneath Khan split apart, releasing a surge of cold and fire mingled together, he understood. This was only the beginning of the most terrifying truth. The ground trembled in violent waves, as if something beneath it was clawing its way up from the depths. Khan staggered, trying to back away, but his spine hit the freezing stone wall. The basement was no longer a room, it felt like a massive black throat yawning open, ready to swallow all three of them whole. The girl crawled toward Khan, her burned hands trembling as they touched his leg. "Don't look down, don't let it call to you." Her whisper flickered like a dying flame. But it was too late. Khan already heard the child's cry rising from the glowing cracks beneath him. It was no longer faint, it grew louder, angrier, as if abandoned for far too long. Hot air blasted up into Khan's face. He swallowed hard, vision flashing with broken images, a woman's trembling hands holding a baby. Thick smoke, screams, the slam of a metal door locking from the outside. And in the middle of it, he heard himself, a thin, desperate infant cry echoing in the fire. Khan blurted out, "My mother, was she there?" His voice cracked, chest tightening. The man, Khan's uncanny reflection, stepped up one stair, splitting the floor wider with the pressure. "Yes, and she was the one who fought to keep you alive until her last breath." He pointed at the girl. She bowed her head, tears falling to the ground and hissing into white steam. I carried you out of the room?" Her voice broke, throat tightening as the words fell apart. "I couldn't save anyone else." Khan froze. In her frail shoulders, he felt decades of buried agony, heavy enough to break even the living. A cold current swept through the basement. The flame on the wall stretched their shadows, turning the man's into a creature with too many arms and heads. He pressed a hand to the stone, voice grinding like rock against rock. "You are the last one left. This bloodline rests only with you." He looked straight at Khan. "And that's why, the door will only open when you stand before it." Beneath Khan's feet, the cracks widened. A chilling breath surged upward, thick and heavy like grave smoke, burning his skin with cold. The child's cry changed, no longer one voice, but two, then three, then many, layered together. The girl grabbed Khan's hand in terror. "You can't go down. If you go, you won't ever come back." Her grip tightened so hard that her nails split and bled. The man let out a harsh, rasping laugh. "He must go, because the final truth is down there." Khan looked into the crack, then at both of them. His blurry memories sharpened. The smoke, his mother's ragged breathing, running footsteps, the metal door locking, and a hand pulling him from the flames. But it wasn't hers. With a shaking voice, he asked, "The person who truly saved me? Who was it?" The girl froze, face drained of color. The man stopped moving, the smile falling from his lips. Silence snapped across the basement. Then, from the darkness beneath the crack, a woman's voice rasped out, ruined and burned. "Not him, not the girl. It was I who carried you out of the fire." Khan went still. The girl burst into sobs, covering her face with both hands. The man roared, stomping the ground, "Don't come up here." But it was too late. A charred, skeletal hand clawed its way up from the crack, hooking into the edge of the floor. Khan stumbled back on instinct. Bones creaked loudly across the entire basement. Then a woman's burned face, skin melted, eyes milky and clouded, slowly rose from the darkness. She stared straight at Khan. "My son." Khan collapsed to his knees, breath stolen from his lungs. A cold wind surged through the room, snuffing out the last flame. And in the suffocating dark, she whispered, "Come down here, and I will tell you who truly killed our family." The darkness swallowed every trace of light, leaving only waves of icy air brushing the back of Khan's neck, cold enough to make him feel like he was drifting inside a bottomless well. The burned, blackened hand of the woman, who claimed to be his mother, still clung to the edge of the cracked floor. Bits of charred flesh peeled away and dropped into the fissure with tiny snaps, each one unnervingly loud. The girl trembled violently, gripping Khan's hand so tightly her fingers turned purple. Her eyes reddened, her breath shaky. "Don't trust her, don't go near her." Her voice broke in fear, as if she were trying to pull Khan away from death itself. But Khan stood frozen. In those white, clouded eyes, he saw something faintly familiar. A ghost of a memory, someone humming a lullaby in both French and Vietnamese. A pain that stabbed deep, nameless but real. The man, Khan's uncanny double, stepped in front of him. Tension flooding his face, all calmness gone, he gritted his teeth. "If you go down there, you'll never escape. That thing is not your mother. It's just what remained after that night." The woman hauled herself up farther, revealing her entire upper body. Her skin was blackened and cracked like burnt charcoal, yet a few strands of her once French curls still clung to her shoulders. She reached toward Khan, her broken fingers clicking as they bent at impossible angles. A mother never abandons her child. Khan lowered his head, voice trembling like a terrified child. I miss my mother. The girl shook her head fiercely, tears streaming. That voice isn't hers. The man roared, his voice shaking the basement. Khan, step back. Suddenly, the ground split wider, opening into a blazing red chasm. A furnace-like wind blasted upward, slapping all three of them with heat so intense it felt like flames licking their backs. Stones rained from the ceiling as the basement shook violently. The woman slid herself upward again, this time dragging an entire chain with her. The rusted links glowed red like molten metal, wrapped tight around her waist. Khan froze at the sight. He had heard stories about spirits chained because they had once been trapped alive. She tilted her head, eyes filled with tragic sorrow. I was chained down here because I tried to save you. That night, I pulled you toward the window to give you a chance to live. Khan felt his heart wrench painfully. Part of him wanted to run, but another part, a deeper, aching part, wanted to step closer. Suddenly, the girl wrapped her arms around him from behind, voice shaking. Don't believe her. I was the one who carried you out that night. I was the one who ran through the flames to save you. Khan spun around, face drained of color. But, my memories. She shook her head, eyes glossy with tears. She's using your memories to deceive you. The chains clattered sharply. The man stepped forward, gripping the axe handle Khan had dropped earlier. His glare cut toward the woman, burning with rage. It ends now, stop lying. The woman laughed, a hoarse, cracking sound like burning ashes collapsing into a pile. You think you can stop me? She yanked the chains. The entire basement roared, trembling as if it were about to collapse. A wave of black smoke erupted upward, swallowing everything. Within it, her body began to swell, split, glowing red from the inside like molten lava pushing through fissures. The girl screamed, "Run!" But Khan couldn't move. Because from the fissure below, two more hands, pitch black and unnaturally long, shot up and clamped onto his ankles. His skin went numb with cold. He jerked violently, but the hands held firm. More hands crawled upward, multiplying, gripping tighter, like a nest of snakes coiling around his legs. Khan screamed, "Let go of me." The girl lunged forward, grabbing his arm, eyes wide with terror. "I won't let you fall, never." The man gritted his teeth, swinging the axe down at the hands gripping Khan. Bones cracked, yet the hands kept appearing, stronger, climbing faster. The woman lifted her head, mouth twisting in a grotesque smile that split toward her ear. "Come to me, my son. The truth is waiting for you." The ground beneath Khan dropped again. He sank to his knees, then past them. The girl cried out in panic. "You can't go down there." Her voice cracked, desperate, ready to break. But Khan looked at the woman, and in his eyes lived a torment of fear, confusion, and an ache too deep to name. His voice shook. "If you really are my mother, then tell me. Who locked the fire door?" The woman froze. The basement froze. Only the roar of the fire beneath them filled the silence. Then she lifted her head. Her milky eyes locked onto his. Her answer dropped like a stone into a grave. She did. The woman pointed directly at the girl. The girl's face turned ghost white. The man shouted in horror, "Don't listen, she's trying to break you apart." But Khan had seen it. Behind the girl's hair, a faint burned scar on her neck, identical to the scar of the lone survivor from the fire in 1952. His voice cracked. "You survived that night? With me?" The girl took one step back. And before she could answer, the ground gave way completely. Khan plunged into the fire below. The girl screamed, raw, broken, shattering the basement. Khan. And so, Dear listeners, the pitch-black basement of the abandoned mansion at Cam Lee Waterfall closed with a terrifying moment. Khan was dragged straight into the pit of fire, while the girl's desperate scream tore through the Dalat night. In the end, who is telling the truth? The charred woman who claims to be Khan's mother? Or the mysterious girl bearing the burn scar from that fateful night? And what is waiting for Khan in those depths below? Be sure to join us in episode 4, where the truth will begin to reveal itself from within the shadows. If you found this story gripping and spine-chilling, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so you won't miss any part of this haunting journey. We'll see you in episode 4 of The Abandoned Mansion at Cam Lee Waterfall. This video is a work of fiction, ghost storytelling crafted purely for entertainment, meant to deliver a chilling and immersive experience. We do not promote superstition, nor do we encourage any dangerous actions mentioned in the story. Any resemblance to real people, locations, or events is purely coincidental. Some images in this video may be exaggerated or dramatized for entertainment purposes and to illustrate certain elements of the story. Thank you sincerely for accompanying Bong Toi Trong Dem.